The morning light filtered through the kitchen window as Mark waited for coffee. A dull pressure settled in the center of his chest, like a thumb pressing gently but persistently. He shrugged it off, blaming stress and the week ahead. Throughout the day, the subtle tension in his chest never eased, a quiet, persistent pressure, as if someone's thumb rested there and refused to lift. He went through meetings and emails, telling himself it was nothing, but the pressure remained unrelenting. He caught his reflection in the microwave door and noticed his hand pressing unconsciously against his sternum. The dull pressure persisted, humming beneath the surface, a warning he couldn't yet understand. He told himself it was just stress from the upcoming presentation, but deep down, he knew something was off. Tuesday morning, Mark at his office desk, stacks of documents, the Henderson account presentation looming. The clock ticks loudly. Through the window, the busy city bustles. The pressure in his chest is still there, a constant dull reminder he shoves aside as stress. At dinner, his wife notices he's distracted. He brushes it off, then casually mentions the chest pressure that won't go away. She firmly tells him to call the doctor. He promises, but even as he says it, he's already thinking about tomorrow's deadline. That night, the clock ticks past midnight in the silent house. Mark lies awake, the chest pressure still a dull, persistent weight. He tells himself it's just stress, but a tiny voice wonders what if he still doesn't make the call. Over Tuesday's dinner, his wife noticed him rub his sternum absently. She insisted he call the doctor right after the meal. Mark waved her off, saying it was just stress, but her concern lingered in the silence between them. After clearing the plates, his wife urged him once more to call. He lifted his phone, glanced at the screen, then put it face down, promising to do it later. The dull pressure in his chest hummed on, unnoticed. That night, Mark stood at the bedroom window, gazing at the scattered stars. The night sky was clear and silent, offering no answers. He considered dialing, then slipped his phone into his pocket, letting the moment pass. Wednesday afternoon, Mark stood in the break room, pouring his third coffee. The vending machine hummed, and he rubbed his chest absently. He'd ignored his wife's advice. The tightness remained constant and unyielding. He blamed the heavy workload. Sarah walked in, grabbing a snack from the vending machine. She noticed Mark rubbing his chest and asked if he was okay. He shrugged, mentioning the strange pressure that wouldn't go away, almost laughing. She set down her coffee, her expression shifting from casual to concerned as he described the constant dull pain. Sarah stepped closer, her voice firm. She told him about her father's identical symptoms, the ignored pressure, the aortic dissection that killed him before help arrived. "Go to the emergency room right now," she insisted. Mark's smile faded, and he grabbed his coat without another word. Sarah's smile vanished, replaced by a serious expression. Her mind flashed to her father's photo, his life stolen by a hidden aortic tear. Storm clouds gathered in her thoughts as she saw Mark ignoring the same deadly warning. She gripped his arm, voice cracking with an emotional plea. My father felt that exact chest pressure. It was an aortic dissection. He waited, and he died. Please, Mark, go to the ER. I can't lose you the same way. The break room dimmed, heavy as storm clouds gathering. Mark saw the raw fear in her eyes, the echo of her loss. Without another word, he grabbed his coat and headed for the emergency room. Mark snatched his coat from the back of his chair, his movements quick and deliberate. He didn't stop at his desk, just strode toward the elevator, the break room conversation echoing in his mind. The pressure in his chest felt heavier now, no longer dismissible. He gripped the steering wheel, weaving through afternoon traffic with uncharacteristic speed. Each red light felt like a personal affront. Mark kept one hand pressed against his sternum, the dull throb a constant reminder that this was real. The blue hospital sign came into view, a beacon against the gray sky. He followed the arrows to the emergency entrance, his heart pounding. Finally, he pulled up to the curb, tires crunching against the asphalt. At the ER, a nurse attaches electrodes to Mark's chest for an EKG. The machine hums and prints a strip showing normal rhythms. Mark exhales in relief, thinking he overreacted. He feels foolish for rushing here. But the nurse says, the doctor wants to talk. Dr. Reyes enters, listens intently to his heart and lungs with a stethoscope. She asks precise questions about the pressure. Mark describes it again. Her calm but serious expression makes his relief waver. She mentions that some serious conditions can hide behind normal tests. A technician wheels in a cardiac monitor and attaches leads to Mark's chest. The steady beeping tracks his heartbeat. Mark watches the green line blip across the screen. His initial relief evaporates as worry settles in. The monitor is a constant reminder that something might still be wrong. Mark lies motionless inside the humming CT scanner as the rotating gantry builds a detailed three-dimensional map of his chest, each thin slice revealing the aorta, normally a smooth, muscular tube. Inside the control room, Dr. Reyes watches intently, her eyes tracking every pixel, searching for the hidden cause of his persistent pressure. On the monitor, a stark abnormality emerges. A section of Mark's aorta balloons outward, its wall thinned and stretched. This is a thoracic aortic aneurysm, a silent bulging weakness that has been pressing against his chest, causing that unrelenting sensation. The CT scan reveals the precise location and size, 4.7 centimeters, a ticking time bomb that could rupture at any moment. Dr. Reyes explains the grave risk. If this bulging artery tears, internal bleeding would be catastrophic. Using an aorta diagram, she points to the weakened wall and stresses the urgent need for surgical repair. Mark's persistent chest pressure was the only warning, the aneurysm silently expanding day by day. Inside the operating room, surgeon hands moved with practiced precision, using surgical tools to carefully place a graft over the aneurysm. Monitors displayed a steady heartbeat as the weakened artery was reinforced. The delicate procedure offered Mark a second chance at life. In the recovery bed, Mark slowly opened his eyes to the soft beeping of monitors. The tightness in his chest was gone. A nurse checked his vitals and smiled. The surgery had repaired the aneurysm, and his heart was beating strongly. Mark learned that the pressure was his only warning, and ignoring it could have been fatal. He owed his survival to Sarah's insistence and the surgeon's skill. His heart was now protected, and he had a powerful story to share. Mark opened his eyes to a hospital room bathed in soft sunrise light. The relentless pressure in his chest was finally absent. For the first time in days, he breathed without that quiet, persistent warning sign. His wife embraced him gently, tears of relief on her cheeks. Later, a video call from Sarah, his coworker, brought a smile. Her support had been the lifeline he almost ignored. Their embrace spoke volumes of gratitude and second chances. Stepping outside the hospital, Mark faced a vast, sunlit landscape, a symbol of his renewed life. The warning sign had been heeded, and now every sunrise felt like a gift. He walked forward with hope, determined to never ignore his body's whispers again.